Are the Hyatts right here on Omega Radio for Marriage in a Minute. Over to you.
Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon, radio listeners all over the
Radio,
world.
wherever you are, wherever you are,
Yes,
wherever you are. Jamaica.
we're exhausted. I'm exhausted.
No, I'm not
man.
exhausted. I'm fine. He's old.
Yeah, we just battered our bodies today with basketball.
Yeah.
but it was
we
a good
weren't in
thing.
the sun, though.
Well, that's true.
We weren't
yeah.
in the sun, but we were just
Yeah.
tired. We were just tired. But anyway.
By the way, before you go any further,
Uh-oh.
I just want to big up my basketball guys listening in today. I know a bunch of you said you're gonna listen in, so thank you guys for listening in. Just
And
wanna
that,
give
yeah,
you a
and
big up.
next week we're going to quiz you, so. No, we're not going to quiz you. But
Yes.
hello. They got beat up. We beat them all this morning. No, we didn't.
Yes.
But anyway.
She made some great plays, some 3-point shots, and
Yeah. And now I'm exhausted, but this is our Sabbath, right?
Yes.
And you've got to take your Sabbath how you choose, but this is ours. We play ball or we
Sabbath.
fish.
yes,
That's what we do, and this is how we unwind and just get over 5 days of working and
yeah.
come out, relieve some stress and tension, and have a good morning. So
It helps us because you need to take care of your mind and your body and your soul. And
yeah.
we take care of our minds by fishing, and we take care of our bodies by playing basketball, and
Yeah.
our soul by spending time together in the Word, and
Yeah, so you've got to
So-
be well all around.
find
just
something out there.
doing something. So whatever it is that float your boat, or whatever, just find something to do and enjoy yourself. And that's your Sabbath. How you decide that you want to have relaxation, fun, whatever. Just enjoy yourself. So, but anyway, we are here today, and
Big up Jamaica, you guys in Jamaica. Sorry, I cut
oh
her
my
off.
gosh, he just cut me off. But anyway, big up
Go ahead.
Billy.
Yes, Billy.
Billy from the basketball court.
Billy, the healthy eater,
healthy eater. But anyway,
inspiring.
next week we're gonna no, I'm sorry, we're not gonna touch on next week. But anyway, I just whispered something to him. So if you're on our YouTube channel, I just pulled him because I might not be able to kick his ankle to say don't say anything. But anyway, so what we want to get into today is in-laws. Oh my
in-laws.
gosh, are we
Wow.
talking about in-laws? Yeah.
Wow. That's
So-
that's a tough one. That's
You know, and
hot
before,
topic.
but yeah, it's a hot topic, in-laws, but I don't think it's a bad thing. And I
No,
think
it's
we're
not.
going to spend this and next week on in-laws,
maybe 3
and
weeks.
maybe the whole year talking about in-laws. But I think sometimes when we use the word in-laws, the first thing that come to mind is negative. Truth or lie? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
people
Yeah, that's true,
when you
yeah.
think about in-laws, you're thinking it's a negative impact on your relationship.
It has a stigma,
It does.
a negative thing. That's the first thing that comes to mind. That it's not a good thing to have in-laws involved, but it can be a good thing.
Yeah. Think about it. You are the reason why we're here. I'm an in-law. You're an in-law. And if you're listening in, you guys are in-laws to some marriage, somebody's relationship, and how that impact your relationship being, a sister-in-law, brother-in-law, whatever it is that you are, and how are they impacting your marriage, and
There's
we
no
di-
marriage without an in-law. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's always going to
Right,
be in-laws.
right. So it really, as we were discussing, and something that came to mind, and we're just kind of we're gonna free flow, and we're gonna talk about it for a little bit. We're gonna talk about a few things this week and try to unpack more next week. But let me give you our email address. It's Carim CARIM .HYATT @gmail.com. So if you have an issue, or if you like what we're talking about, or if you
Comments,
just
you
want
wanna
to,
say something.
have us talk about something or something specifically that's affecting your marriage, your relationship, just send us an email, and we'll kind of unpack it or dive into it. And obviously, we won't let anyone know who
Actually,
you
could
are, or
Yeah, sorry. You could also comment in the comment section below in this video too.
yeah,
You can leave
yeah.
a comment or a
Yeah.
question or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
And I think the reason, man, it's touchy because in-laws have broken up many a marriages. And I'm sure in-laws have saved so many marriages, but I think we don't talk about the saving where maybe in-law, maybe a mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother, sister, whatever it is, may have stepped in to help. But I think we're so it's so touchy. Like we care more the fact that when it has a negative effect, and I'm not saying that we care more, but it's more talked about than the positive.
So basically, you can have a positive effect or a negative effect. It can be interfering, it can be helping.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how you know, as a matter of fact, I believe that it's not really the in-laws who cause the problem. They might initiate the problem, but I think the spouses are the ones who allow it or disallow it. Because it's either you're saying to your spouse, deal with it, or you're going to say to your in-law, stop it, so to speak. That's my take on it.
And I think sometimes maybe it's how you introduce, it's weird. In-laws can really, like my husband said, initiate by instigating. I like better. Maybe
Yeah, that's a good word.
instigate
Yeah.
some
can
of the
happen.
issues where you question. So I've had a friend said to me one time that before they became in-laws, but the relationship was getting to the point where marriage was going to be involved, and they said to the son, the man, I won't say the son, it's not the mother-in-law or father-in-law, but anyway, they said to the guy, hey, that's not usually your type of woman that you date. How is that going to work, or how is that going to affect, like, I'm shocked that you're dating this girl, because that's not the usual woman that you would bring around. And right there,
That's it.
it's like, now what do you think if you're the woman being in this relationship with a guy where people in his family are, and he's telling this lady like, oh, you're not the usual type. That's really what you're admitting to. So sometimes it's the way you introduce your to-be spouse, your spouse, to the rest of the family that really cause the family to question or instigate, because maybe they're not being nasty, but maybe they're just looking out for that person who really doesn't normally date, I don't know, someone like so-and-so, or...
Yeah. It can be a traditional thing where, your mom or your dad, this is what you see them do. For example, having a bank account, for example. They may had separate accounts.
Yeah.
Now you meet your spouse and you decide that you don't want that. You want to have a single account for both husband and wife having the same account. So now what usually happens sometimes is, you're having conversation with your mom or your dad.
Your
it's like
family.
your family.
And
it's
mention
like
something.
about, money or bank.
Yeah.
And they'll say to you, no, you should have your own account.
Wow.
Now, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. Then you go back and you tell your spouse, you know what I think? I think we need to have our own account,
Right.
because it worked for my mom and dad before. But that's really not in-law instigated. I think that then that would be...
If it causes a problem, it is. It can be a suggestion, but put it this way. It's nothing wrong with in-laws suggesting and giving advice, but there's something wrong with them making that decision for you. That's the difference. So no matter what Michelle's mom or dad may say to us, it's up to Michelle and I to decide if we want to go with it or not. When they interfere in it and try to fight it, now that becomes a problem. So, in-laws can be a positive effect or they can be a negative effect, but it's up to husband and wife to come to the final decision making.
Right. And what about that sister-in-law or that brother-in-law who you used to hang out with every single day and you do everything together, and now there's jealousy involved because
Right.
you know. Or you could have that great brother or sister-in-law who's like, listen, we can't hang out like that so much. You've got to go to your spouse. So there's a negative and a positive, like we're saying, but what is your take on it? How are you with your spouse? And like for my mom, my brother lives in New Jersey, and my mother and my brother, they choose to talk every Sunday night for like hours, but they just hang out with they just talk on the phone for hours on Sunday nights. Like, they use that time to talk. I mean, they can call each other, but that's just their time. So is my brother not going to, if my sister-in-law says, hey, let's go to the movies, of course my brother is going to go to the movies. So the conversation becomes, hey, mom, I'll call you tomorrow night, or I'll call you tonight. But you can't just say like, oh no, I talked to my mama on Sunday nights, we can't go to the movie. Now that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it's
imagine?
Put it this way. The Bible says leave and cleave. So that word cleave suggests something. It doesn't mean you're leaving for good. It means that your behaviors, your patterns, your
tendencies are now,
your decision making, your everything, you cleave to your spouse, meaning it's between you and your spouse, not you and your spouse and your parents or your sister or your brother. It's between you and your spouse. So no matter what they say, they come to your house and they say, I think you should put the painting right there. It looks better there. That's fine, suggesting it. But if you and your spouse decide, no, we want it there,
you leave it alone.
That's the decision you make.
Yeah, but then that spouse is going to say, especially me, I'd be like, well, how do you come to my house telling me,
there's the other point now. So it's up to the spouse to tell the parent, hey, we decide that we want to have it there. So that's our decision making. As opposed to, going with the spouse and going with the in-law or the parent and going against your plans with your spouse. That's what I'm saying. So the question is, are in-laws strengthening your marriage or weakening your marriage? Are they interfering or are they helping?
And what are you allowing? I think
it's
the what you are allowing that makes the difference. So, and like I said, having an in-law can be a rescue, right? You've got kids, it's got to be one of your moms or parents or whatever live not too far away. That becomes your rescue, because now you want to still go out, you want to still have a life, and that is your rescue for babysitting and having the kids sleep over or just hanging with the grandkids. And they are your rescue when you need them, but then you don't want them to interfere. So it really is a thin line where are you comfortable with, like, I'm comfortable. My husband's super comfortable with my mom, and I'm comfortable with his mom. But it doesn't, I think no matter what.
There's a boundary.
Yeah.
There's a boundary. Yeah. There definitely has to be a boundary because, if you allow your in-laws or your parents then, to be deep in and cleaving with us, if we allow them to cleave with us, it's not a marriage. So you have to, and I know I said that word, not explaining it, but it's just based on what we're talking about. If decision making or, going with your parents as opposed to going on the side of your spouse in situations, in decision making, it's always going to create a problem.
The reason why this is called Marriage in a Minute, it's because we've got 15 minutes and it feels like a minute when we get started. So we really are pretty much at the end of our program, but we're not done. So we know for sure that we're going to continue. But what we want to bring in next week is, how about now you're married to someone with kids. You've got your kid, they've got their kids. So it's not just, you're talking about now 4 sets of X, now new. So
extended family.
This is a huge extended family. And I think now so many people are from blended relationships. and we've got to get them in the mix with the kids from the old marriage. Well, not old marriage, but kids from your set, my set, and that's a lot.
It's
blended families.
There is a way to.
Do we
make
do
it
that?
work.
Do we do that by when we're done with this in-laws, or do we incorporate it next week? And I think we're probably going to incorporate it
because it's still
on
the same topic of extended families.
Extended families,
but we're gonna do that next week.
Yeah, and don't forget what I said though, right? Your parents are the first choice when you have children, to have them babysit your kids, and when they come over and they stay, or you take the kids over, they're like they're your asset. So now don't make them not that person when maybe things aren't so right with you and your spouse.
Yeah. So
because they're still your rescue.
Your rescue at some point. So what we're going to do is we're going to dissect into how to have a great marriage and navigate through the marriage with the in-laws involved, because there's no marriage without in-laws.
Yeah,
you can't
and then
avoid the in-laws.
Yeah, and
what we're gonna come up with.
We're interrupting each other because there's so many. It's so hot, and I just remember when O'Neill and I moved away. When we moved to Florida, our moms weren't here, right? And remember, I've told you this before, that I'm not like a cookbook cook, right?
She could cook though.
I could cook a few things, and the few things that I can cook, I just stick with it. I don't go to the left or to the right. I'm just like, whatever I can make, I make. But I'm just saying, can you imagine how I would have felt if O'Neill's mom or parents had lived here when we first moved, or even my mom, and see how we were navigating through our relationship in the beginning when there was not much cooking. Like, it would be eggs and rice for dinner or whatever. Right? So, and it doesn't matter because it's between us. If we're accepting this and eating cereal for dinner, like, it should be none of anybody's business. But I can only imagine for some people where the in-laws are so close that they're examining, like, what are they cooking for dinner, and why is she cooking that? We don't cook like that. Why are you feeding my son that? Or
exactly, that's interfering. So in that case, because I grew up with my people who my parents, my grandparents who cooked, and we sit at the table and we eat every single day, and it's cooking every day. So now, like Michelle said, when we started out in our marriage relationship, it wasn't like that. So can you imagine my mom would come and see that and say to me,
or your aunts and uncles that,
or whoever in the family, why doesn't she cook every day, or why does she do this kind of food, or you can't, you have to talk to her. No. This is our marriage. This is how we decide.
This is our home.
This is how we decide to have it. But I'm not the kind of person who's gonna go to Michelle and say, hey, you know what?
My mom
this
says
is what
you need to make.
So you need to do it this way. That's not love. Yeah. So you have to think about so many different things. Yeah. But anyway, we are at the end of this broadcast for this week. We're going to continue next week. But remember, you cannot get rid of the in-laws. You can work with it. You came by them, right? Yeah. Yes, exactly. We're going to dissect how to navigate through a great marriage relationship with your in-laws. All right, so join us next Saturday, 3:30 p.m. on Omega Radio Broadcasting Network. We thank you guys for listening every day. Make a comment. If you have a question, a comment, whatever it is about this topic. All right, guys, I love that intro and that extra. From this moment. So join us next week, Saturday again. Yep. Thank you, guys. Have a great
week. God bless you.
Bless you.
All right, Omega listeners, you were just tuned into Marriage in a Minute here today on Omega Radio. We do hope that you will tune in next week Saturday at the same time of 3:30 p.m. right here on your favorite station. And, of course, we would like to thank the Hyatts for being a proud sponsor towards this radio ministry. And once again, this was Marriage in a Minute right here on Omega Radio. Make sure you tune in next week Saturday at 3:30 p.m. We're going to go ahead now and continue on with your normal scheduling.
Hey, radio listeners, this is Michelle Hyatt.
And this is Carim Hyatt,
host of Marriage in a Minute. Tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. right here on Omega Radio Broadcasting Network for encouraging words on marriage.
And listen, guys, check out our new website, www.marriagevantagepoint.com. And remember, you are the MVP in your marriage.
From this moment, waking up, thanking God.
The following is a paid announcement by Omega Radio. Omega Radio continues its journey to save the lost and the least at any cost.
Tuning